we are so excited that you guys decided to join us today. Welcome to the special edition of what we're going to talk about today with Dr. Ferrara. So we're so excited that you guys are here to actually watch it today. And we've got a couple interesting things we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about a few interesting topics today. So Dr. Ferrara, do you want to say hello to everybody? We've got them over here.
How is everybody doing today?
We've got them over there too. So we want to ask you guys a very interesting question today. We're going to talk about soccer injuries. So this is what we're going to discuss today: is soccer injuries. Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to talk about. Everybody's watching this soccer thing right now. Everybody's. Well, it ends on July 15th, July 16th, I believe. July 16th is when it officially ends. And so, who do you think is going to take it by the end before we get started?
The way it's been going on, who knows? Flip a coin.
So, guys, we are very excited that you guys are able to join us today. Again, we're going to have some fun with this topic today, but we want to talk about injuries. We want to talk about soccer injuries. So, Dr. Ferrara, can you tell us a little bit more about ways to avoid some soccer injuries?
Yes. I mean, just like anything else we talked about earlier is preparation, physical conditioning. The most common soccer injuries, actually, just like any other sports, is pulled muscles. So from kids to weekend warriors, I mean, most people play soccer are not professionals. They're adults like me playing in just for fun, and children playing, so not being conditioned. So as the summer gets going and it gets hot and you have kids passing out or adults passing out because they're not well conditioned or getting pulled muscles from, again, not being conditioned and also not stretching, because we're all back to the basics. And also wearing the proper equipment, which is basically in soccer shin guards, and having the right shoes so you're not slipping.
Now, you mentioned stretching. I mean, and I think we kind of talked about that before. Like, how long should a person stretch before you actually get out there and start playing? Because some people stretch for a couple minutes. I think that's it. And some people stretch for 15, 20 minutes. So what would you say is an appropriate level, or is there an appropriate level for stretching?
I think it varies from person to person. I remember there was this one national team coach used to not stretch his teams. He believed just go out there and play, which I thought that was ridiculous. I think the proper way is about at least 30 minutes. For me, I try to stretch about 30 minutes, and if I can get away with it, 45 minutes for big games, like I have this big tournament coming up. I usually stretch for about an hour. I think the older you get, the more stretching you need. But even top athletes, I mean, they stretch for about an hour. 15 minutes is not going to do it. And we spoke before about what we call dynamic stretching, which has decreased injuries. And dynamic stretch is not immediately getting to the field and going to a stretch. It is a slow build up to it, is going through the motions that you're going to be going in the game and then stretching. For example, start out with a slow jog and then stretch a little bit, and then start kicking the ball a little bit for about 5-10 minutes, maybe 5 minutes actually. Again, stretch, and then doing some more ball work, some heading balls, and then some more stretching. And as you go through the stretches of things you're going to be doing in the game, and you slowly build up to it. And that takes about 45 minutes to an hour. And you'd be amazed how much better you feel being stretched out and your body fully warm. On cold days, wearing a warm gear underneath the Under Armour that keeps your body warm. I think that is really the best way to prevent injuries.
And I think, I remember before, I think you said one of the things that people should do is stretch after the game is over as well. And I think that was something that a lot of people really never paid attention to. Can you talk a little bit about that as well?
Yeah, after the games, you'll see if you go to a professional soccer game or even a college game, you'll see the teams all gathering at a line. They will, I was noticing this even at the World Cup. After saluting the fans, they'll get online and they'll just run jogs up and down the field and then stretch as a team, especially all the players that played. So that's about usually 15 minutes. We call it normally a cool down. You should do that after every practice and after every game. But usually that is the thing that prevents injuries the most, is just proper stretching and not pulling the muscles. Those are the most common injuries.
And what about like drinking water or things like that? Does that have really any impact as far as like muscles? I mean, because I know like before when I didn't drink a lot of water, it just felt like I cramped a lot more than if I did drink a lot more water. Is that true? Or
you want to drink water, or at least Powerade or Gatorade type drinks. Those the day before. You want to stay as hydrated possible the day before the game. And I have a routine, especially in tournaments, where I just, before the game and knowing the game ready, I will go through about half-liter bottles of Gatorade, 2 or 3 of those, go through some coconut water to get the potassium, some orange juice, and get all the electrolytes up. And I'll drink as much as I can up to a few hours before the game, especially as most of the tournaments are in the summer. It's hot, and it's amazing how much more of a competitive edge you will have, not only preventing injuries, but also the competitive edge while your opponents are tiring out. You're still going, and that's enough to win a game when it's all said and done.
Wow. So if you guys are watching right now, I know you may have some questions about stretching. You may have some questions about a variety of different things when it comes to health, when it comes to soccer, because this is very popular right now. Everybody's watching the big games that's going on right now. And like I said, a lot of people may have questions about, they may have seen. Have you seen any injuries so far this season with soccer as far as the major leagues that were the professional players who are playing right now?
One was an injury. We had unfortunately, one of the professional soccer team players, and it's been on the news, he had a stroke right after a game, and he had to be quickly rushed to Northside. They did great care there, and then he was life-flighted to Grady, and they did a great job there. And I'm not sure if he'll be able to play soccer again, but he's back to talking and walking again, so from my understanding. So that is all good news, and that was pretty devastating. The most usually we've seen so far has been broken bones. We saw a couple of broken foot bones, and usually that happens from stepping on your foot, especially with the spikes, and broken ankles that we have seen.
How is it that it's possible that somebody can have a stroke being that tip-top condition like that?
Probably something that nothing to do with soccer. That they're still trying to find out. Probably something you inherit, probably some kind of genetic abnormality that caused more clots in his body. Also, you look at the things also you work about is cardiac. A lot of times when you're that well conditioned, you get sort of your heart gets cardiomegaly, looks a bit bigger, and your heart sometimes can go into arrhythmias. Who knows? That will throw a clot.
Wow.
Nothing to do with soccer is conditioning. Probably something unrelated to it.
Okay, if you guys are watching right now, please feel free to put your questions up there when it comes to injuries pertaining to soccer. And this is what we're discussing today, because have you, personally, I know you're a big soccer player yourself, have you ever been injured playing yourself?
Yes, many times. Seems like almost every week. I mean, I have bruises right now on my knee, and my body's all black and blues. Everybody, thank God those are minor. About a few months ago, I had a pulled muscle that kept me out for about 4 weeks. But I've had my shares of calf pulls and ankle sprains.
So is it pretty common? I mean, are those pretty common injuries, or is it like something more serious that occurs when it comes to injuries in soccer?
Those are pretty common, and all those came down to me actually. I can clearly remember not being able to get the full 20, 30, 40-minute stretch where I got there about 10, 15 minutes before the game, rushed to the field, and pulled muscles. Those were all because of that.
Wow. So if you guys are watching right now, please feel free to put your questions up there, and we'd love to answer some of your questions that you may have when it comes to just having injuries in soccer. And this is what we are discussing.
You worry about head injuries, too. You can get concussions. And you can't from the ball, if you have to be smart about it. So kicks the ball. If you're a kid, you're a teenager, the ball's coming at you pretty high force. His balls are very heavy. I would think twice before trying to hit it really hard because, it will give you a headache. It will have an impact on you. I know it's a part of the game, but I think as we go on in the game more and more, I think we are going to see players wearing, and I think that's the way soccer is going to go, wearing headgear to protect you when you head the ball from head injuries.
People wearing protective gear?
Yes, I think the next protective gear would be head. They do make almost looks like head bandanas, which are cushions, which does soften the impact of heading. And they make sort of also like helmets that are come around the front, excuse me, that are used specifically for soccer. I'm not sure if it gives you a competitive advantage because the ball bounces off at a faster rate, but it does protect from hitting the soccer ball over and over again.
Wow. So if you guys are watching this right now, please feel free to put your comments up there, and we'd love to be able to answer some of your questions that you may have when it comes to injuries in soccer, because again, this is a hot topic. We are seeing a lot of players out there right now playing, with the major games that are going on right now that end in July 16th, I believe. And so, again, these are topics that some of your children are involved in, and you may need to find out some ways to help avoid some of these injuries that are common that do occur when it comes to soccer. Do you have any other parting words for us, Dr. Ferrara, when it comes to injuries and some of the best ways to avoid some of the injuries that may happen?
Yep. But also, you can avoid injuries in other players. I mean, to play what FIFA does called fair play, which is basically to not try to injure the other players. Many injuries have happened in this World Cup. You've seen a lot of them with facial injuries, and they're coming out with bloody noses or bloody mouth, or hits blows to the head just because players just trying to be dirty, And you can also prevent them by not inducing fouls on other players.
Right. So that is one of the ways that injuries do happen, and I think that's something that we really don't talk about. But it's true, because other players are playing dirty to try to get an upper hand, but they're actually injuring the other person while they're doing that.
Yeah, they might come in with a hard tackle or pulling from behind, and what happens is player's not expecting a hard tackle front or kick in the leg, and they land wrong and they twist an ankle or fall and break a wrist, and that will happen, and it has happened a few times in this World Cup, and it happens all the time.
Absolutely. So if you guys, again, are watching us, please feel free to put your comments up there, and we definitely would love to answer any questions that you guys have about, injuries when it comes to soccer. So, again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them up there. And like I said, Dr. Ferrara always gets back with people. I've seen him do it several times, and this is what his passion is. And so, again, we thank you guys so much for watching and tuning in. And I think, Dr. Ferrara, one more?
One more point. And I'm also posting a daily blog almost every day on the World Cup. My thoughts of the day. Just straight off the cuff, unscripted thoughts about what's going on every day. Because right now, as you saw the game, it's almost like it was Belgium, England, and my thoughts was both teams were each trying to lose on purpose, because by not winning their group, they end up on the correct side of the bracket with easier pathway to the semifinals. And it was funny to watch both teams purposely trying to lose the game, and it's so. So how did that happen? That somehow Russia ended up on the weaker bracket, and all the strong teams, the top 6 teams, are all playing each other in the quarterfinal, in the first round of knockouts, which is kind of unusual. I've never seen that before. So the writers who are going to write about this World Cup are going to be writing overtime, I think, as a result. Anyway.
All right, well, guys, so thank you so much for tuning in and watching us. We are excited to bring you another broadcast this week, and so hopefully you can tune in next week. We'll have another very exciting broadcast for you guys, and so please feel free to put your comments up there, and we'll definitely go ahead and go from there. So you want to say goodbye, Ferrara?
Goodbye.
All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.